Okay, hey everyone, my name is Shawn, and on behalf of Oregon State University's EWB chapter, I'm going to present a quick SolidWorks and 3D modeling tutorial. Now, quick mention for any OSU student who's watching this, if you don't have SolidWorks installed on your computer, you can just go to the OSU website and eventually you'll find a free download, free access key for this application. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get started here. So there's three parts to SolidWorks. There's part, where you can model and make individual parts. There's the assembly, where you can take all of these parts you've created and kind of group them together into whatever it is you're trying to build. And then finally there's the drawing portion, which kind of just gives you individual specs on a given part. It's easy for other people to understand. And you pretty much design them in this order. So let's get started with the part. Alright, here we go. It's loading in. Okay, so first thing you want to know is this is the interface. It's kind of this nice white space. There's three planes you're going to be working in. The front plane, the top plane, the right plane. And so to get started, if you want to sketch in any plane, you need to be able to see which plane you're working in. So we're going to right click here on front plane. And actually, let's use the top plane, why don't we? We're going to right click on top plane, and we're going to click show right here, the eyeball. And as you can see here now, we're able to see the top plane in this view. Now if you want to view the top plane in any other area, you hold down Control on your keyboard, and you press the space button. This will take you to different sorts of views here, all isometric, and different side views and whatnot. And so if we want to view the top view from the top plane from the top, we click this top button here and it shows us the top plane like this. Another way you can do this is if you were to mess this up and whatnot, you can also right click here and click this button here, which is normal too, which sets your view obviously perpendicular to the top plane, meaning it's looking down and whatnot. But yeah, it's just a quick way to be able to view which plane you're drawing in. So now we get into the drawing portion. This is fun. There's this sketch button over here. All you want to do is select create a sketch. And so when we select that, since we have top plane selected, it knows we're drawing in here. And so now you can create any shape you want. And for the sake of this tutorial, let's just make a rectangle, why don't we? So something different with SolidWorks compared to most CAD software is you don't automatically set your dimensions as you draw them. So we're just going to create the shape of a rectangle here. We don't care about dimensions, just the shape of a rectangle. Right there. And now that we got a rectangle, we can click check marks. And so the next thing you want to do is obviously set the specific dimensions of our rectangle. So you're going to go right here to Smart Dimension, and you're going to be able to click right here. Obviously you can set the position of this, but let's say this is going to be, I don't know, 50 millimeters. And so now with this first dimension, the lengths of all these dimensions in the drawing will, kind of be to scale of this 50 mark. That's why it was originally 117 millimeters, and when we set it to 50, you don't really notice any change in size here. So we're going to click OK. So let's Smart Dimension this side. As you can see, 22.74 is, the length of this with respect to 50 here. So let's say we wanted to make this longer. Let's call it, I don't know, 25. Why don't we? 25, you can see it grows on this side. And here we kind of dimensioned out our basic rectangle. So I'm going to exit sketch here. And as you can see on our top plane, we have our nice rectangle we sketched out. So the next part after every sketch is to be able to extrude it, to be able to make it a 3D shape, So we're going to go back to the Features tab here, and we're going to click Extrude Boss or Base. Now since my drawing is already selected, it's going to automatically want to extrude this piece. This here tells you how, how far you want to extrude it out. And if you look, there's actually a small ruler there. Very useful. But you can individually set right here how far you want it to go out. So let's just say, I don't know, 20, 25. Let's do 25 again. And so finally we click OK. And here we have our first rectangular box, which looks pretty normal, pretty simple stuff. Alright, next thing we want to do is, let's say we want to add on to this box. How would we go about doing that? In order to do that, we need to create a new plane to draw on. So if we go here to Reference Geometry, and we click Plane, we're able to create a new plane anywhere we want. So let's say we want to create a plane on this top face. Actually no. Let's say the side face right here. We're able to click here, and as you can see, this plane isn't quite touching this side, and SolidWorks starts it off that way. But if you want the plane to be on this side, you set this offset distance right here to 0. And it brings it right up to the side. So we click OK. And so this plane is now called plane 1. And as you can see on this side here, we have all of our different components. Front plane, top plane, right plane, the extrude we did, and plane 1, which we just created. So off to a good start there. So now on plane 1, let's sketch something. Why don't we sketch a circle? Let's do a circle. So we can just click anywhere here, really. A circle. Remember, just make the shape first, then we smart dimension. Let's say the diameter is, I don't know, 7. Yeah, 7, why not? And from here, with this new shape, we can extrude this as well if we wanted to. Let's extrude U. As you can see, since it's already selected, it'll want to extrude. So let's say it's, I don't know, 30 millimeters. Click OK. And here we have this cylinder coming out of it. It's pretty simple stuff. Now let's say you wanted to make a hole that goes through this object instead of creating a cylinder that goes out. What you can do here is you can right click on extrude, you can delete, and as you can see, it'll pull up this prompt and it'll show you what you're deleting, the boss extrude. So we cancel that out, we still have our sketch here. Now instead of extruding, if we wanted to create a hole, we go right here to Extruded Cut. Now it's the same concept, we select the circle, and instead it puts it through here. And it creates this hole. Now there's a few ways you can do this. If you know the dimension here is 25, like we set, you can specifically say 25 millimeters, and it'll cut right through. But let's say you didn't know the dimension of this side, off the top of your head, of course. Let's say we just set it to 10. As you can see, the hole doesn't go all the way through. What we can do here is we can set this setting here. Instead of blind extrude, we can say through all. And it's pretty self-explanatory. The through all function basically tells the computer to create a hole that goes through the entire surface, through all of it. And so it's an easier way of making holes. You click OK, and now we have this hole going right through the center. Yeah, and so with that being said, we can take a look at many different types of views. Control space for this. Make sure you remember that. If we wanted an isometric view, we can have this right here. If we wanted a front view, go right like this. Top view, just like that. Pretty simple stuff here. But yeah, with that being said, now that we have our nice drawing, let's say we wanted to do something a little more advanced. Let's delete all of this. As you can see here, really quick, as I delete this boss extrude, I'm also taking away plane 1, sketch 2, and the cut. Now, why am I deleting all of these? The way the program works is, as you extruded this this box here, plane 1, sketch 2, and cut extrude are all based off of the box. In other words, after making the box, we created a plane that was on the box, and on that plane we created a sketch, and on that sketch we extruded it. So it's all based off of this box. If you delete the box, you delete everything that goes with it. So they show these here, so we can click yes really quick. And as you can see, all we're left with is our drawing for the box, which, you know, we extruded beforehand. So let's say we wanted to make a cylinder. Delete you. Now, the easiest way to do it is obviously by creating a circle and just extruding it that way. But another way you can do it, which sometimes comes in handy, let's show the front plane here, hide the top plane. We're going to go normal too, so it's easy to draw. Another way we can do it is with revolving. And as you can see, this revolved base picture kind of shows you the idea we're about to sketch up. So let's say we wanted to make a cylinder. Let's say we start with a rectangle here. And I really don't care about these dimensions all too much. Alright, let's say we have this rectangle here. Now, to create a cylinder from this rectangle, what we're going to do is we're going to let's see if I can describe this. We're going to have this rectangle here, we're going to rotate it 360 degrees. What does that do? It creates a cylinder. This top part would be the radius, as you know, and this is if we were revolving it around this line right here. So the way to do this, an easier way to do this visually, is to go to line and specifically select center line. And what center line does is it isn't really a line that's used to create a shape. It's more just for reference. So we'll create that right there, our perfect center line. And now that we have all that set up, exit sketch, you can click revolve. And so right here you have two prompts, a plane on which to sketch the featured cross-section. We already did sketch it, so we're not selecting a plane, so we're going to do an existing sketch, which is your other option. So let's say we select this line here. As you can see, the axis of revolution is line 5, which is this line we drew, our center line. And our rotation is 360 degrees, which makes the cylinder we want. Of course, we can do, I don't know, 180, and it creates a half circle. It goes 180 degrees around. We can do 90, but for the sake of this, let's do 360. And here we have our cylinder. And so this is obviously pretty complicated process just to make a simple cylinder. So let's say we wanted to make a donut, right? Instead, the easiest way to do this is to go back into the plane, sketch 3. You can edit this sketch, make sure we're viewing it properly from the front. Let's say we wanted to make a donut. What we're going to do here is we're going to delete the center line, and we're going to create a new center line that is this distance away, let's say. Right there. And perfect. So this new center line is a little bit farther away from the rectangle, and as you can guess what we're about to do, we revolve around this axis, and as you can see, it creates this nice donut washer type pattern. So we can click OK, and just like that, we have it. And so let's say we wanted to know what the radius of this inner circle is. We're able to hide this portion right here. Where is our revolve sketch 3? Let's show sketch 3. So as you can see, we revolved it around this axis of rotation. Let's look at what the dimensions of this are. So let's edit the sketch. Smart dimension from here to here. Oh wait, sorry, wrong selection. Select from this point to this point. Here we have 23.91. Let's make it, I don't know. Let's make it 15 here. Distance is now 15. For to exit sketch and show revolve to. Now as you can see, it would be slightly smaller. This distance here is 15 like we specified. So the inside of this circle pretty much has a radius of 15 millimeters. And it kind of takes a little bit of visualization, but you know, that's kind of what the program is all about. Alright, so we have this shape here. Now let's move into assembly. Let's say we wanted to create a rod that goes right through here. What we want to do is save this part. Let's save this here as part 1. Perfect. Now I want to create a new part. So let's do new part, select this. Awesome. And so really quickly, let's draw the rod we want to put through, which is going to be a circle. What was the radius? The radius was 15, so we're going to do that again really quick. Click OK. Smart dimension, you're going to be, this is the diameter, so it would be 30 actually. 30 right there. And so quickly we exit sketch. Let's extrude this right there. Let's extrude this some stupid number like 60 millimeters, sure, why not? We're gonna actually, let's do 100 just to emphasize how long it is. Okay, so we have our extruded cylinder. We're gonna save this as part 2 really quickly. Okay, now that we have part 1 and 2, we're going to make a new assembly right here. Assembly. Click OK. So this is a new assembly document. And as you can see, it automatically suggests parts that you want to open. So we have part 1 and 2 we created. Part 1 is this thing right here. Perfect. And what we can do here is the part that you import is always fixed. So this is our starting point. So as you can see, I can drag it, can't move it around. Now I want to import the next part, so we're going to click Insert Components. We're going to click Part 2 right here. Perfect. As you can see, Part 2 we can move around because this part is the part that is fixed. It's the first piece we imported here. So let's say we wanted to fit this thing into here. How do we do that? Easiest way is the amazing mate tool. So to mate, all you have to do is select the siding right here and select this inner portion. And as you can see, it'll fit it right on. And from here, it's still able to go in and out. we haven't exactly set any other parameters. So in addition to that mate, we want to mate this top cylinder and this top right here. And as you can see, when you click those mates, it's now secure, and you can't drag it or anything. It's stuck on there. And so this is kind of how you assemble. You create a bunch of parts, you fit them together, and theoretically, making parts would be like I don't know, making the engine, the body, and the pistons, and then the assembly is where you make the full car, in simple terms. So now that we have this assembly, it's a very nice piece. The last thing I want to touch up on here is our final part of SolidWorks, which is the drawing. And the drawing is more of a way for you to communicate every individual part you're making. If you wanted to send a part to be made in the factory, you'd send them this document because it gives you the specifics of it. So let's say we want to import part 1 here, and as you can see, this window is kind of what it'll look like. Let's see, we're going to have what looks to be, yeah, okay, so this is obviously the front view we're looking at, right? This is kind of our line, and this is our rectangle, right, that we drew, and this is what we revolved over. As you can see, if we go out to the side, we'll get our nice isometric view with, obviously, these parts labeled on there. We can get the side view, the top view as well, which I'm not going to draw because it intersects a little bit for simplicity's sake. So now that we have all these different views, we're able to smart dimension them individually. We can select, I don't know, let's do this, which as you can see is a radius of 15, like we've specified before. This here is 42. This is, the radius of this is 70.44. That's looking good. After finishing up the dimensions, you can get a basic look of what you're drawing, and engineers will be able to take this and figure out what the part looks like from your simple drawing. And yeah, I'd say that's a very quick run through of SolidWorks and all of their functions. If we go back to part here, as you can see, there's just there's many different settings and whatnot that allow you to play around with part making, and there's just, like AutoCAD or any other type of modeling software, there's just so many different functions. It would be impossible to go through them all, but hoping that with this tutorial, you can create these objects, and by saving them as part files, you can do cool things like machine them in the shop, or if you wanted to 3D print them too, you can create a shape on this program and 3D print it right in the DAM lab if you're at OSU or at any 3D printer at home. And of course, that's a little bit more of a process, but yeah, overall, this is SolidWorks, and I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Thank you.